Welcome to Bookwood. I'm glad you chose to spend some time with me. If you haven't met before, my name is Mashou and I create reading and journal content over here on YouTube. I am making a video today because it is time to do the last update in my reading journal. Now that the month of February is completely done, I will be filling out my yearly spreads, my challenge spreads for February, and I will be setting up my stats page. So let's dive into that. Let's start with my yearly spreads. Nothing happened at Aurelium, so we can just skip those. For my Connection Challenge created by the 52 Book Club, I read only one book in February, and that was Never Lie by Frida McFadden. I did read my book for the Fitzalong. I found these cute completed stamps in Canva and adapted them to red. I will also be adding in the dates and my star rating for the book, which was 3 stars. To me, this means that I enjoyed this book. It had something extra to make it a little bit more than okay, but not highly enjoyed. The 12 to finally read challenge that I created for myself finally gets updated as well. In February, I read 2 books for this challenge. Those were The Whisper Weeks, The Labyrinth of Lost and Found by Jordan Lees and The Quiet Tenant by Clémence Michalon. I didn't read any books that were laying around, so no books for the Read Me Bingo. I did participate in the Map of Stories by Leandra from the TBR 0, and the book I chose did hit all the prompts, so I gained a gold medal for the February reading challenge. It was a romance written by a LGBTQI+ author with exactly 2 persons on the cover, and boyfriend material from Alexis All fitted all of them. It is recommended on BookTube, but not by someone I follow regularly, so I didn't add in a picture. And we are on my series tracker. I have a lot to add to this one. It is time to update the spreads that are made specifically for January, and in the meanwhile, let's have a little flip through of the pages after the pen. My reading project for February was to read books with all my loved ones, especially all the books that were laying around from the library, and that for most of them were also buddy reads with my kids and my husband. Most of these books are reviewed in my 2 carousel vlogs that will be linked down in the description box below. With Merin, we read a lot of picture books, so we made a picture with one that we liked a lot. It's a French only, so I will not be mentioning too much of it. With Niklas, I read Don't Trust Fish by Neil Sharpson. It is a picture book that is giving, in a very funny way, a lot of smaller information about fish, and it is really worth your time if you have kids to read it with. These next pages weren't in my initial setup. I made them to keep track of my stats so I could prepare videos at work. A little glimpse of my Aurelium story page that I keep to myself most of the time. And it's time to dive into the stats. As always, I set up this page in the same style as the rest of my setup, and unfortunately in this video you will not be seeing much of it because my camera decided for some reason to stop filming. It's a little bit my fault. I should have filmed in more sections instead of just all in one go. But hey, I'm human, so when I'm done creating the border, I will add in a picture of the rest of the page, and I will add in a video of my face that is telling you about my February stats. So for my February stats, I picked up 14 different books, which is excluding the books that were read with Meirin, Naoki, or the Don't Trust Fish book with Niklas. So I mean really books that I read from my TBR for me. And I didn't have none, but I also didn't give any 5 stars. That doesn't mean that it was a bad reading month though. I read 10 of those books in physical form, and I'm looking down because I have my stats done here, and one of these books in an ebook form, which is good for 3,129 pages, and 3 of them were audiobooks, and those were good for 40 hours and 42 minutes. I didn't finish the last one of those until March, so the time is only including the time that I effectively listened to it in February. So the audiobooks came from 2 different places this time. One came from Audible included, one came from Audible paid, so I used the credit, and one came from the library audiobook section, which is an app, and I call it Audiolib, but it's not the exact name of it, in case you're reading along on the screen. 9 of the physical books came from the library, and 1 I owned, and the one and only ebook was a Kindle included book. 4 of those books were comics, and all of the others, so 10, were novels. I read 9 fantasies. This stays my top genre, but I also read 3 thrillers, which made me very happy because when making up my end of year stats, I came to the conclusion that I love thrillers and that I didn't really read much of them. I think maybe 1 or 2 in 2025. So I'm making up for that this year. I read 1 romance and 2 historical fictions. Those were the comic books of Ella Mahe. I also look since this year to the language I read books in, and I read 7 books that are published in French and that I read in French, which doesn't mean that some of them are not translated to English. I'm not keeping track of that. And 5 of the books that I read in French, but they were translations from another language. I read 1 book in English that was written in English, and I read 1 book in Dutch, which was a translation. Then there is only the series statistics to talk about. 10 of the books I read were somehow part of 1, which leaves us with 4 standalone books. I did started 4 new series. I read 4 sequels, and I finished 1 series. I DNF'd none of the series I started. I hope your reading month was as good as mine, and that you enjoyed all the reads that you picked up, and that you also got to read all the books you wanted to read. I am, as always, very happy to read about your February conclusions in the comments section. See you soon!